It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, a good day, everybody. I'm Brad Miller. It is County-Wide. Happy to welcome into studio a guest that we've talked to any number of times. With Friends of the Verde River, the executive director is Nancy Steele, and we say good day to you.
Good day also.
Thanks for coming in today. Some important things happening this month, September 26th. And through the 28th?
To the 29th, through Thursday, Monday through Thursday. Gotcha.
The State of the Verde Watershed Conference, the future of the Verde, solutions for the next decade. And this is always well attended, this conference or these conferences. And it sounds like this one will be as well. Just give me the 1 minute version of Friends of the Verde River, what you're about, and how those efforts by the group plays into the conference that's coming up this month.
Well, yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show, too. Friends of the Verde River is an organization that exists because we cannot imagine a world in which the Verde River is not healthy and flowing.
That's why we're all here.
That's why we're all here. In addition, I mentioned the Verde River, that's in our name, but we are about the entire system. So from Granite Creek, Sycamore Creek, all the way down to the East Verde and all the way down to Phoenix, we're about the entire watershed.
Yeah.
So over 6,600 square miles of Arizona's land is in the Verde watershed. It's tremendously important not only to us here locally and the folks down in Phoenix, which use our water, but this is a national importance.
Right.
We are the only wild and scenic rivers in Arizona are the Verde and Fossil Creek, which is a tributary to the Verde.
Yeah. The folks that settled Tuzigoot knew this, the importance of that river. It was attractive to them, and it remains so. And as such, demands on the river and stresses on the river can become exaggerated over time. And as more and more folks have come to our area, that continues to happen. And a protective a group of folks like yourself is critical to that happening. And it's not just the water and the flow. It's the riparian areas. It's the wildlife. Right. It's all of it. Is that right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Talk to me about, I want to come around as we move through here about the conference coming up, and that'll be at Cliff Castle Hotel Casino again, September 26th through the 29th. Going to talk stormwater and things like that. But let's do this. What, if any, now to me it feels like we've had more rain this monsoon than others. I didn't look at a gauge or a chart before I say that. Has that, first of all, if that's correct, have an effect on the Verde River in terms of not only flow, but usage, recreation? Has the season kind of caused other issues or things happening with the Verde?
Yeah, it's, according to the meteorologist, Lee Bourne, it's been about an average monsoon season.
Okay.
Depending on where you live, it might not have seemed like average, right? You might have got more rain, or like at my house, we've gotten a lot less rain than we did last year.
Yeah.
But it's been about an average monsoon season, and what that means is, June is the lowest time for flow on the river, right? That's if you come up here and you want to kayak the river in June, you're going to be disappointed.
Okay.
But once the monsoons start, the river flow comes up, and we tend to see more people on the river. That said, this is also the time of year when we get a lot of debris, a lot of plant material flowing down the river. So I was just at Dead Horse the other day, and there's a section where there's just, downed limbs all over the river.
Right.
And some of that is from storms, and some of that is water, or is trees and brush and limbs coming down because of the summer fires. And so as the water flows down the river, it picks up this dead wood and brings it down.
Yeah.
So it can also be kind of a dangerous time to kayak, depending on where you are on the river.
Right. So June, I guess our typical winter snowmelt is over.
Right.
and it's before the monsoon, kind of so up and down.
Right.
Is early, or I guess would be late winter, February, March, heavier flow because of snow
definitely.
melt too?
Definitely. In fact, that can
Makes sense.
We can have our highest flows on the river
Sure.
in that time of the year.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. We talk about, and like you said, some folks had a little more rain with the monsoon, some a little bit less. We hear about flooding, particularly in Flagstaff. So it kind of makes it sound like, wow, this rain, but that goes to the burn
Yes.
scars more even than the current rain.
Right. When you don't have
Yeah.
all the trees and the shrubby plants and the grass holding the ground, you get a lot more flow and flooding down.
Okay. Just talking on the Verde recreational use in general, it seems like you certainly hear a lot more about. I've been here 30 years. You certainly seem to hear about more usage, and I'm talking particularly kayaks, organized kayaking, folks that are kind of doing that. Is usage in that way up from, say, 5 years ago?
Yes, it is.
Quite a bit, or I don't know if you have numbers right in front of you, but
Yeah, I don't have any numbers, but one way to tell is we've got outfitters. We've got more outfitters bringing more people to the river, and they're doing well. They seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
So that's one way of telling. I think the only place where the numbers are counted is up in Clarkdale because the outfitters have to get permits. And so they can tell, and they've said the numbers are up.
okay. And there's no motorboat usage. In fishermen with a trolling motor even? You're not going to probably have a lot of luck on the Verde.
They would destroy their motor pretty fast because the Verde's not a very deep river.
Foot and a half.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of trips where you get a safety briefing before you start the trip, and the joke is always, they tell you what to do if you fall out of your boat. Sit down, put your feet forward, and make sure you've got your PFD on, and then if all else fails, stand up.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. And its deepest maybe 3 feet.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's little holes.
Yeah, there's holes, but it's not very deep in a lot of places. Just down towards the Camp Verde area, you're going to see some deeper sections, but still,
Okay. Yeah.
this time of the year it'll be deeper, obviously. But motors would not do well on this river.
Are they illegal? Has anybody ever tried it? Now there's a picture.
I don't know that they would be illegal. I don't think so.
Not wise usage.
Not wise. Yeah, you'd destroy the motor.
Talk to me a little bit about this. We've all seen the dramatic pictures of Lake Mead, Lake Powell, unprecedented low levels there. And you were kind of telling me prior to opening the microphones that that's really not a surprise if you've paid attention. But now it's here. What, if any, impact does that have on the Verde River?
It's interesting. The Verde technically is a tributary to the Colorado River.
Okay.
We are part of the Colorado River Basin or watershed. In past times, before Phoenix was a big city, before there were dams on the Verde would flow down into Phoenix, meet up with the Salt River.
Right.
It'd be other rivers that would come in, and it's all part of the Gila River system, and then the Gila would enter into the Colorado. It doesn't happen anymore, right? So there's nothing from the Colorado River that flows into the Verde. On the other side, we are a tributary to the Colorado.
Okay.
We also, here in the Verde Valley, get none of our drinking water, none of any of our water from the Colorado River. The Central Arizona Project flows right on by and doesn't stop here. It goes on down to Phoenix and then Tucson. So we get nothing from it. So all of our drinking water comes from groundwater.
Okay. But the demand given that the water that's flowing right behind where we're sitting right now, our studio is right on the Verde River, some of that's going to end up in the drinking glasses and the bathtubs of folks in Phoenix.
Right.
Is there a way that the dire situation at Lake Mead, Lake Powell, and what about the SRP lakes? We don't hear much about them. Are they at critical low level? I'm assuming perhaps so.
Complicated question about how much water Phoenix is getting, but let me answer it this way. Phoenix does get some of their water from the Verde. The Salt and Verde systems combined, depending on the year, provide anywhere from 40 to 60% of Phoenix's drinking water. So as the amount of water they get from the Colorado River declines, our system, the Verde River, becomes more important to
Right.
them as a drinking water source.
Okay.
So there's a few things that that I think will benefit us, and some things that won't have any impact on us at all up here in the Verde. One of the things that they are planning on, and by they I mean this is a combination of SRP, the City of Phoenix, and the Bureau of Reclamation, is that they'd like to raise Bartlett Dam. And that would allow them to store more water that comes from the Verde. The Verde system doesn't have a whole lot of storage. If you think about the salt, right, there's a number of reservoirs and dams along the salt that allows them to store more water and use it.
Okay.
They don't have that much storage capacity on the Verde. It's not going to affect us up here in the Verde Valley. However, if they raise Bartlett Dam, it will have impacts on the Verde River, on the lower Verde River, but not up here. On the other hand, there's a lot more attention that they're turning to the Verde system because, of course, they want that water to flow by us and down to the Phoenix area. So there's going to be more attention here on how we are using water going forward.
Okay. All right. Let's take a short break. Our guest, Nancy Steele. Nancy is the Executive Director, Friends of the Verde River. Big event coming up for the Friends a little bit later in September, and we'll talk about that when we return to Countywide right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted Carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the Carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolar.com, a factory-authorized Carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing. Member SIPC.
And again, welcome to the show, Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and our guest today, Nancy Steele. Nancy is the Executive Director, Friends of the Verde River, and registration is now open for the State of the Verde Watershed Conference, the Stormwater Workshop. This will happen back-to-back at Cliff Castle Casino in Camp Verde beginning September 26th and running through September 29th. And Nancy, what is this about? I'm not yet registered. I've not yet signed up, but I should because...
Well, yeah, I'm very excited about what we've done with this conference. This is pretty much everything you need to know about the Verde River Conference. That's what's happening on Monday are some field trips, which you can pick one, go see an area of the Verde maybe you haven't seen before, or do something fun like floating down the river. And then on Tuesday, that's when all the talking starts. And we've got sessions that will give you an opportunity to learn about how climate is affecting the river. What is this thing called groundwater management? You know, what
Right.
should you know about that? Whole lot of really great speakers. We've got Bruce Babbitt as a keynote, and also the chair of the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust, Carol Schilling, who's a big supporter of the work we're doing in the Verde. They're keynote speakers on Tuesday. So Wednesday is similarly has some exciting topics coming up. We're going to talk about river cities. Mayor Tim Alinsky, Cottonwood Mayor Tim Alinsky is moderating a panel. And Kim Schoenig with the Nature Conservancy is moderating a panel on agriculture. And again, some more great speakers. And then on Thursday, this is we're going to shift gears. There's this organization that the federal government funds, the US EPA Environmental Finance Center. And they're bringing essentially everybody from everywhere to talk about how you can get funding to do these watershed projects, stormwater management projects. So that last day, the whole thing is open to everybody, but that last day really is oriented towards agencies and cities and even organizations that want to learn about where they can get some more of that funding that's going to be coming out, some of the funding you've read about with the bills that have been passed. How can we bring that money to Arizona to improve our great state?
Okay, so well-rounded, pretty comprehensive. It sounds like conference over the few days. Let me ask you just kind of this. It seems like maybe this is really at the heart of the Friends of the Verde River. From your chair, what is the biggest threat to the Verde River? Is that too big of an umbrella? It's we think of usage, we think of pollution, we think of all of those kinds of obvious things. But I mean, not just right this minute, but in a decade's time, say, what do you see as the biggest threat simply to the Verde River?
Yeah, that is such an all-encompassing question. There's so many ways to answer that. I think one of the biggest threats is people not getting together and working together.
Like what this conference is about.
Let's come up with solutions and let's work together across all sectors, across all beliefs. If we can come together and say that the Verde River is important to preserve, then I think we have a chance of success.
Right.
Drought and climate change are big problems. Over pumping of the groundwater basin are big problems.
Right.
Some people may not know that where the Verde River gets its water is from underground. Just like we pump up water to drink it, that water seeps into the riverbed. All the seeps, all the springs, all the creeks that flow into the Verde River, that's water's coming from underground.
Is there kind of a specific spot where I could walk up and say, here's the birth? Here's the virgin water of the Verde. I know it's a series like you just described of spots, but can I post a sign and take a picture and send it to my relatives back east?
Yeah, there's this place called Sullivan Lake in Chino Valley.
Okay,
it's not much of a lake. It was sort of a hobby lake that was created. So somebody buys a piece of land and puts a dam on and creates this thing called Sullivan Lake.
Okay.
But it's what's considered kind of the origin.
The headwaters.
The headwaters.
Is that right? Okay. So.
And there's a huge, beautiful, craggy canyon that goes south and east from that point that's just gorgeous. Okay. And that's what I think of as the beginning of the Verde River.
Sure. Okay, great. We talk about, when we talk about the river, and today we're talking about kayakers, we're kind of talking about the river flow and specifically, but I know there's plenty of people, I'm thinking of wildlife lovers, birders, as I've found York to call bird people, birders, who really never kind of dip a foot in the water or sit in a kayak, but still appreciate and frankly cherish the Verde River and what it means to them. Is our wildlife sound? How have they dealt with a drought, then monsoon, and all of those kinds of things? And where I'm going is I want you to mention the Coatamundi
right?
Because I've never seen one. It's on my bucket list here, and it's never going to happen for me unless I get my feet wet.
Well, so the Verde, we have some of the highest species richness of birds in the Verde because of our rivers and creeks. And of course, if the water went away, they would go away too. Many of these bird species are what we call riparian obligate. They only nest and breed around water, trees that are growing around water. So that's of key importance. But yeah, birds are fascinating. We have a lot of fun with them. We have a birding festival every April that brings people from all around the country and even some people from the world.
Really taken off.
Yeah. And what you were asking about, the Coatamundi, that was a really fun sighting. I went out with some birders on Saturday. We went to Wet Beaver Creek and V-Bar V Heritage Site. And it was, we're looking at birds.
Yeah.
And we're walking down the trail at V towards the petroglyphs, and we're startled by this band of coatimundi running across the trail right in front of us, going towards the river, towards Wet Beaver Creek. There must have been at least a dozen adults, and we saw 4 babies.
I was going to say, did you see any young?
Yeah.
Could you tell? Were they
size? They're adorable.
Of course.
Yeah, the tiny little creatures that are they're fully capable of running around. They're, what we call precocial.
Do you know if the, I don't even know the word, herd, do you know if the group detected you?
Oh, yeah, they saw us.
Did they?
Yeah.
Do what they do.
They just
get back into the bush.
They wanted to go from one place to the other. We were there, and it's just like, you're crossing the road, and it's like, I think I can get across the road before those cars come. That's kind of what they were doing. We can get across this trail before those people come.
That's awesome. Never seen one. Been here 30 years, never seen one.
Well, and they're not that common.
Yeah.
They're not common. They're more of a southern Arizona, New Mexico, and then they were in Mexico and South America. And after I saw them, I did some research online. I was trying to find out how common they are. Do they, are they supposed to be up here? In New Mexico, they're a protected species. In Arizona, they are considered a non-game mammal.
Okay.
But they are not protected in Arizona. There's actually open season, you can shoot them, but only one a year. Only one a year.
Okay,
but
they'll be glad to hear that.
Yeah, and only one a year. But I was doing some research trying to figure out, in 2018, somebody recorded and wrote an article about seeing coatimundi at V. So they've been there, and also there was a sighting in Walnut Canyon up towards Flagstaff.
Well, further north. Okay.
Yeah, but not very common.
No, not at all on the local bucket list.
Yeah.
Our guest is Nancy Steele, Executive Director, Friends of the Verde River. We'll return to Countywide and wrap it up right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solaire is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
And welcome back to the program. Really kind of wrapping it up. We've had some good discussion here. Nancy Steele, Friends of the Verde River, and the State of the Verde Watershed Conference coming up, the workshop on the 29th. It runs September 26th through the 29th. And again, that will be at Cliff Castle Hotel Casino. You said you've got a lot of people signed. Maybe room for one or two more. If I am interested, go online. How do I get signed up or get more info?
Yes, go online to our website, verderiver.org.
Okay.
And if it doesn't come up right away, you can search State of the Verde Watershed Conference, but it should come up when you go to our website.
Okay, so right there. And then if beyond the conference, if I'm just interested in finding out more about your group, I have perhaps want to pledge resources or be a member, how do I do that? Same place?
Same place, okay. verderiver.org, and you can sign up for our e-news, you can sign up to volunteer, and of course, we have a donate button on our website. We always appreciate being able to do your work through our actions.
Terrific. Again, we thank you for your work, all that you and your group does. Tremendous advocates for the Verde River, and that means tremendous advocates for all of our communities, those of us who appreciate living in this area. Nancy Steele, Friends of the Verde River. I'm Brad Miller. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.